The nations of Ireland and Indonesia are over 14,000 kilometers apart. Separated by oceans and continents, the two countries indeed have many differences, but also share many similarities, with ties remaining warm. Despite the distance, trade ties remain pertinent. In 2020, Indonesia exported $76 million worth of goods to Ireland, while Ireland's exports to Indonesia reached $133.5 million. Both the peoples of Indonesia and Ireland also place importance on family, togetherness, tradition and culture, and a love of food. So I spoke with Ireland's ambassador to Indonesia, Patrick Francis, to find out more about these similarities we share, with the ambassador himself making significant efforts to weave those connections closer by creating a batik designed alongside an Indonesian student, combining Indonesian batik motifs with Irish colors and symbols. Mr. Ambassador, you're speaking about trying to strengthen ties between Indonesia and Ireland. I can see, I think your batik looks very special. Can you tell us more about it?
Well, it's something I decided we needed to create a new connection between Ireland and Indonesia. So this is now the Embassy of Ireland's official batik. It is designed by an Indonesian student from Bandung, Miss Fania Garcia. And it brings together both Indonesian traditional motifs, but also Irish nature, an Irish bird, Irish plants, and our national symbol, the shamrock. So I think this creates something that both Indonesian and Irish people can appreciate.
Next, we moved on to traditional authentic Irish food, which some dishes were surprisingly similar to Indonesian foods. Right, so Mr. Ambassador, as I said, we want to learn more about Irish culture, and starting with food. Now, this looks delicious. Is this authentic Irish food? And just tell us more about
These are authentic Irish foods, very traditional, and this is what I would have eaten when I was growing up.
Right.
So I'll take you through them.
Sure.
So this is a dish called boxty, which is a sort of a potato pancake.
Right.
And often served with sour cream and smoked salmon. So potato pancake fried, and it is absolutely delicious.
All right, Mr. Ambassador, I think I would like to try.
Please be my guest.
Okay.
And you can see there it can be served with smoked salmon, butter, or anything else you like at all. So
this Indonesia potato pancake, maybe perkedel would be in the closest. Yes. It's very nice. Yeah, sort of similar to perkedel.
Right. Yeah, might be similar to that.
Yeah, very good.
Here is more smoked salmon, and Ireland is an island nation. Fishing is very important to us. So Irish fish, I would believe is the best in the world, but salmon is a very important fish in Ireland, and a lot of people eat it.
So seafood is a staple in Ireland?
Seafood is a staple in Ireland,
right.
yes.
So you would find people on a daily basis cooking salmon at home?
Cooking, yes, and also lots of restaurants. We have some excellent seafood restaurants in Ireland, so maybe someday you'll have a chance to visit one.
That would be wonderful. And when it comes to staple foods, Indonesia has rice, consumed alongside other dishes by millions every day, while in Ireland, the same can be said of a special type of bread that, like rice, is made at home by millions of Irish people every day. Right, this looks wonderful, Mr. Ambassador. And of course, in Indonesia, a staple food of ours that we eat and find every day is rice. That is a staple food. Now, tell us more about a staple food of Ireland. I've read about soda bread.
Well, we've made some soda bread for you here, and this is soda bread like my mother would have made when I was young and growing up. And it's made in the home, and it is flour, water, maybe some milk, soda, and just baked in the oven. Excellent bread, and it just takes a very short time to make. Usually served with butter, but of course you can put jam on it, smoked salmon, anything you like.
So that's one thing I want to talk to you about, is Indonesia and Ireland. Of course, we are on opposite sides of the world, thousands of miles apart. But you've lived here in Indonesia, if I'm not wrong, for 1 year's time.
Yes.
Do you see maybe any similarities or kind of common bonds that Indonesia and Ireland can share in terms of culture?
I think there are. I think as you say, we're very far away from each other. Our people are different in many ways, but I think something that is very important in Ireland is family, and our families matter a lot to us, and I think that's the same in Indonesia. Sure. And I think bonds of friendship and hospitality are very important. So in Ireland, we always try to take good care of our guests. We have a saying, Céad Míle Fáilte, in the Irish language, which means 100,000 welcomes, and that's what we like to say to our guests. And I think it's the same in Indonesia.
After trying out traditional Irish foods, I then sat down with Ambassador Francis to speak more about Irish-Indonesia cooperation's efforts to further it over some delicious traditional Irish desserts and beverages, including the renowned Irish coffee.
Yes, coffee is very popular in Ireland now. Tea has always been popular, but in the last few decades, Irish people are drinking more coffee. And while you can get all the usual forms of coffee in Ireland, there is one particular coffee we make, a sort of a dessert coffee, if you like, called Irish coffee. And we have 2 glasses of it here.
Right.
So it's coffee with sugar, whiskey, and whipped cream at the top.
This looks delicious, Mr. Ambassador. Sort of delicacies that we can find very easily in Ireland as well. And this is also something very interesting for Indonesians as well. Tourism to Ireland, because as we know, Indonesia has already opened up to foreign tourists. What about Ireland? Has it opened up to tourism since the pandemic, and what are sort of the restrictions like?
So Ireland has completely opened up. There aren't any restrictions.
Right.
People are encouraged to wear masks on public transport and in hospitals, but apart from that, there are no COVID restrictions. So our tourism market has opened up, and we would be very happy to welcome more Indonesians to Ireland.
Would you need sort of a PCR test maybe when you get there?
No, not required.
Right.
Not required. Of course, we hope that everyone will get vaccinated, but I think people have to now. So.
Right. So vaccination is a requirement?
It's not a requirement, but it is encouraged, and of course it is the sensible thing to do for travel.
Okay, wonderful. And speaking about tourism in Ireland, maybe can you tell us some of the most popular attractions or maybe tourist sites in Ireland, so some places that Indonesians would want to go?
I think we have many different types of tourism opportunity available in Ireland, in our cities like Dublin and Cork, old cities with lots of bars and restaurants and theatres and old buildings to look at. There's a lot happening in the cities. But then on the other side, we have our beautiful landscapes, and in particular on the west coast of Ireland. Very dramatic cliffs and forests and mountains. And I think Indonesian tourists travelling to Ireland will be able to see and do whatever they want, because there is huge variety there for people.
Right. So will there be a lot of maybe outdoor activities?
A lot of outdoor activities, and walking, cycling, hill climbing, swimming, surfing, kayaking. It's all there in Ireland.
Okay. Mr. Ambassador, I also want to talk further about Indonesia and Ireland sort of trade relations. Have they grown stronger in the past years, or has it been difficult during the pandemic?
I think there have been difficulties for all countries in trade during the pandemic, but trade between Ireland and Indonesia has grown very substantially over the last decade, and it's now in the hundreds of millions of euros worth every year. Okay. And I think Indonesia is now something that Irish businesses are now much more aware of, and they're seeing the opportunities here.
And of course, right now is a challenging time, Mr. Ambassador. The IMF and the World Bank, they're sounding the alarm on a global recession. First, if I may, I want to ask about Ireland's economy at the moment. I mean, is there a worry about this global recession?
I think there's obviously concern, but because the Irish economy is so open and because it is so export driven, we have actually managed very well over the last few years. The economy has been growing very strongly. There is very low unemployment. We are definitely facing into challenges globally, but I'm confident that we will continue to prosper.
Right. Is there sort of maybe specific ways that Ireland is sort of anticipating this concern of a global recession For example, in Indonesia, we are focusing very much on handling inflation in terms of food.
Yeah, the government of Ireland is also quite concerned about inflation and is taking steps not just to try and reduce the rate of inflation, but also to provide supports for the people of Ireland, in particular around energy costs, which is something that has been rising a lot.
Sure.
So I think the government is very aware of the situation, is concerned about it, and is going to take steps to help the people of Ireland.
Okay, wonderful. And just lastly, maybe what other ways can Ireland and Indonesia strengthen ties, not only through trade and investment, but sort of people-to-people relations?
I think people-to-people links are the most important because trade and investment flow from knowledge about other countries.
Right.
So we try to encourage Indonesian people to visit Ireland and Irish people to visit Indonesia. But I think because our two countries are very far away from each other, historically we have not had strong links.
Right.
So I think it falls to myself and my team at the Embassy of Ireland to create some of those links. So, for example, you see me here wearing the official Embassy of Ireland batik.
Okay.
I decided we needed something to bring Irish and Indonesian culture together.
Okay, Mr. Ambassador, thank you so much for giving us your time to speak to us and providing us with the very delicious traditional Irish foods, and hopefully we can have more conversations in the future about Indonesia-Ireland cooperations.
It's a pleasure. It is always a joy for me to be able to talk about Ireland to people in Indonesia.
Great, wonderful. Thank you so much, Mr. Ambassador.
Thank you.
Thank you.